What
So
is
the
this?
thing that I'm putting out in the world, I actually put out in the world about 8 years ago and it keeps coming back at me. So I'm going to put it out in the world properly. And it's called OOPSI. It's a framework or a guide for a conversation or an analysis technique. It's all things. And it stands for outcomes, outputs, process, scenarios, inputs. It's sort of a way in. So when I illustrate it with arrows joining them together to suggest that it's coming from the outside in. So you're starting with the outcomes, which is always a good place to start in any kind of product or software delivery, making sure you know what they are and that hunting the value. Then you look for the outputs, which are the most important outputs that your system or your solution or your product is going to generate in order to support the overall outcome. Then you explore the use cases, all the different scenarios that might be important for the specific outputs that you're generating. And only then do you look at the input data, the preconditions, the detail that would support the implementation. So, what's useful about it is that it gives you these 5 different opportunities to prioritize and look for the most important thing to work on next. And it also gives you a structure to collaborate and it gives you a structure for your documents and artifacts. So the problem that it solves is that analysis paralysis, that being completely overwhelmed with potential detail and complexity and not knowing where to start. It also solves the problem of knowing when to do the thinking, because in Agile over the last 20 years, we threw out a lot of our analysis practices and said, oh, it's all about conversations and collaboration, it's not about documentation. But with that, ever since then, I've worked with teams who are confused about knowing how much documentation or thinking to do. Also, if you're working with user stories, it can be difficult to have the higher level context and big picture. And the other thing is that, see my invisible post-it and waving it. This user story thing, when you inspect it, there's always more detail there. So when you look at it, you don't know how detailed it is. And so knowing whether you've got enough detail or enough understanding is a really confusing thing. And it reduces rework. So it refines and focuses what you're looking at in order for you to collaborate really well together. It's all about collaboration and get it right first time.